Tim, you have come up through the ranks at the sheriff's office. Worked your way up to lieutenant and then eventually to captain, and you were named the officer of the year. Do you think that experience is an important part of your candidacy?
I do, Wayne. I think that because I've worked through patrol, I've worked in the jail, I've worked, through investigation, narcotics, I've worked in all parts and all facets of the sheriff's office, know what we need, know what's going on, know, how to do all the different areas that the sheriff's office does. I've never had to work actual civil division all the time, but we always did civil papers and work with them. And so I think my experience with that helps me know what needs to be done and gives me guidance and helps with my whole career being experienced in so many different fields.
Okay. If you will, go back and trace for us a little bit of your law enforcement experience, education, and so forth.
I went to the LET, graduated in 1991, started with the sheriff's office under Joe Kaiser. Sheriff Kaiser promoted me to detective division. I worked there. Barbara Pickens was elected sheriff after Sheriff Kaiser. I worked with her in patrol. She promoted me back into investigations. One time I had investigations and narcotics as a first sergeant. Our monies were short, and I was supervisor over investigations and narcotics as a first sergeant. So I did that under Sheriff Daugherty. He moved me as first sergeant to Charlie District, and then moved me to transportation officer for Harvey Krause Detention Facility. During that time, of course, I did several murder trials, from investigations, and worked on that. And then whenever Sheriff David Carpenter was elected in 2010, he asked me to be his lieutenant of Major Crimes Unit and Investigations. I did that. In 2012, I selected as MDT, Multidisciplinary Team, Member of the Year. 2014, I was nominated by fellow investigators and other officers as the Officer of the Year for the Sheriff's Office, which was, I'm proud of that because it was signed by each investigator, also the Chief Deputy, Major Caskey, and approved by the Sheriff and awarded to me by Sheriff Carpenter. 2015, I was promoted to Captain over investigations in the jail. In 2016, I made Captain over investigations, narcotics, and the jail. So I've worked through the ranks, and sometimes with politics, you work through the ranks several times, and that's what I've done, since 1991.
Do you think that it's important that whoever's elected sheriff have some law enforcement experience?
I think it's very important to have experience in law enforcement, because how are we going to tell our people they're doing wrong or they're doing right if we don't know what they're doing is wrong or right? You can't be know-it-all on every section of the law. You got to have expertise. You need people around you that's expertise in finance, people that's expertise in civil matters, people that are expert in crime scene. You can't be know-it-all, but you can always surround yourself with people that really do know what they're doing. But you don't know if they're doing right or wrong if you don't have the experience or the knowledge and don't know the law. If you don't know the law, this day and time, we get you sued real quick.
The number of candidates that we have running this time around, I think maybe the most we've ever had run in a sheriff's race in Lincoln County.
Yes, sir.
A half dozen looking for the Republican nomination. Are you concerned about that, about the high number of candidates, and that people might not find it easy to make a choice considering how many choices they have?
Well, I think a lot of people make choices not so much on by doing research and knowing all the candidates. They might just know one candidate and make a choice. I think it hurts this election because your vote is so divided. Some of the candidates have no law enforcement experience or very little law enforcement experience, and some have a lot of experience. Really, it's not about how many years you got in, it's what you've done with your years, what you know, what you've worked, what you've seen, and how you've kept up with the law. The number of candidates hurts this election because a couple hundred votes on somebody that's not even qualified can knock somebody qualified out of the race.
If you are elected, do you anticipate making any big changes in the operation of the sheriff's office?
I wouldn't say I'd make any big changes. I think I would do some additions. And I would tweak some areas that I think can be a little bit different. Doesn't mean they're wrong now. It just means that I would do them a little bit different. I would like to add a couple areas like crime scene unit that we've never had. That's very much, I think it would be a very positive thing for the sheriff's office to have for our county and our citizens. I always wanted to do that, and it's just I love investigation, so I love to improve it a little more. We've got a great investigations unit. It just free up some of your investigators' time, especially on like a homicide, that they're not working the scene, they're out hunting the bad guys. And there's a lot of different things. If you're going to be good at something, you got to specialize in it. And to be really good, you got to be able to specialize in it. And that is a specialized field. And when you go to court, this day and time, everybody wants to think about CSI. And every time you go to court, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? But some of that stuff, the equipment we don't have, and we're never going to be able to have. But we can get all the evidence that we can get. And I just think crime scene unit would be a big asset. And I'd like to also add at least 2 K9s more to the force.
It's no secret that Sheriff Carpenter has endorsed another candidate. Does that bother you?
Well, of course it does bother you. You always want your sheriff's endorsement. But I have to say that for Sheriff Carpenter, in his endorsement, he promised the man that if he ever ran, he would endorse him. And I have to respect him for being a man of his word. But I can say that Sheriff Carpenter has endorsed me the whole 7.5 years since he took office, because he picked me to lead his investigation in the first major crime unit that we ever had. He picked me as Officer of the Year. He picked me to be captain in 2015 over investigations in the detention center. In 2016, added the narcotics unit to me under my belt also. So he's endorsed me. He's still endorsed me because I'm still in the same position. I'm still doing the job. I love the sheriff's office, and I love making sure that the sheriff's office looks good. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. We all can make mistakes, but there's one thing about it. The sheriff's office is a better place for what we've done for the last 7.5 years.